I'm going to quickly talk about some of the things we did 2 weeks ago that I forgot to include in a video. So we spent a lot of time about a month ago thinking about interval inference, and we thought about adjacent strings. And we know that since we're tuned in fourths, any two notes on the same fret that are one string apart, that are adjacent strings, will be a perfect fourth. So you could play a row of perfect fourths. We talked about that. And then we talked about inferring from that fourth the other intervals. So if that's a fourth, that's a major third, major second, minor second, unison. Conversely, perfect fourth, augmented fourth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, and minor seventh being more or less practical limit. And I call that level 1 because you're working with adjacent strings, but then we segued into level 2 where you skip a string. So now if you say at the same fret but skip a string, you actually get a minor seventh. A to G. So you could do a row of minor seventh adjusting for the B string. And then we're going to infer two other intervals from there. A major seventh would be a half step bigger interval. And then an octave would be half a step bigger still. So that's an introduction to level 2 interval inference. And now you combine the two levels and you make a series of chords. So we did a series of thirds in A, major, minor, minor, major, major. Actually, we were doing a whole octave. How were we doing that? Oh, we were doing it in G. So if you take your thirds and then you add the sevenths, you can do parallel sevenths. They're all minor except for the 1 and the 4. So it's 1, minor, minor, 4 again major, everything else minor, until the end. They sound cool all to themselves, but then when you combine the thirds and the sevenths, you get these very cool 3-note seventh chords. Major 7, minor 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant, minor, minor, major. So what I ask you to do is to learn that sequence on all 4 string pairs, string groups. Next, now you have to adjust for the B string. And then finally here, because the thirds are different on the G and the B, this is the anomalous string pair, then the chords are going to look different. So here's your major 7. I'm going to use my pinky so I can leave it down and play a minor 7 like so. Back to major for 4. Oh, what did I do? Dominant for 5, and then minor for the next 2. Okay, that's a review of that, the interval inference and the 3-note seventh chords. And then we talked about modes again today. We focus exclusively on major modes. So you have the major scale, sharp the 4th, you get the Lydian. But if conversely you flatten the 7th, you get Mixolydian. And then if you remove the half steps by jettisoning the 4th and the 7th, you get the major pentatonic, which has no half steps, but instead has 2 minor thirds, which are these 3 fret gaps, G sharp to B and C sharp to E. Then if you simply insert the minor third into this, then you get a major blues scale, which gives the major pentatonic some twang. So those are the 5 major modes we're studying, so to speak. The major or Ionian, Mixolydian and Lydian, and then in addition to those, the major pentatonic and its counterpart, the major blues. So you go into the strong position and you play rows of all of those. So let's start with pentatonic. fast because you know those well. Now we'll add the minor third on 2 different spots on the way up and the way down. So on the way down, add it to the same string you started on. Okay, now I won't do all the rows, but I'll just do one of the major. Raise the 4th for Lydian. For Lydian. And then lower the 7th for Lydian. So pick one, major, Lydian, Lydian, play a whole row. And then flip into the weak position. Start pentatonic because it's the most basic. B shift. Same position. Excuse me. These you know pretty well. 3rd string is always an anomaly. Back to the regial fingering. Add the blue note. This is more comfortable than the strong position. Okay, and then finally do the major. The major is going to have a position shift initially to get that 7th. You want to think about the fact that what you're doing to go from pentatonic back to major is you're reinserting the 4th and the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the half steps are back in play. This is the easiest because there's no shift. The B shift does the work for you. Same position here as well. 3rd finger, starting this one. 7th below the root, again. Always back to the pinky. There you're getting 3 notes below the root.